We have made it to Friday, everyone. Welcome into News 10 Plus. I'm Taylor Gattoni with Nicole Buckman to cheer us up on this Friday.
Yes, and first day of March. Hello.
Yes.
Yoo-hoo, new month. New us.
Big spring blowout.
Yeah, right. But no, it is exciting. We always love it. I feel like when you hear March, you're like, oh, spring, you know, and granted we have been getting some of that spring-like weather here and there, but it is just nice to start a new month, a new fresh off, you know, and it's cool too. It's technically National Women's History Month.
Yes,
so we got some girl power as well. So that's what we'll see a lot on Studio 10. In particularly starting off with, actually, well, I mean, we will talk about National Women's Month, but we're saving a big show for International Women's Day, which is on the 8th.
Ooh,
so,
all
sorry, I went like fast forward and back, fast forward and back.
That works sometimes.
Right, that is where the brain is. But it also marks the day of National Reading Month, so it is Reading Month.
Mm-hmm.
And what was one of the picture books that rhymed a lot that you would read when you were a kid?
Well, we were just talking about red fish, blue fish, all the Dr. Seuss books.
Yes, and so Dr. Seuss's birthday, I believe, is technically on the 2nd, but if it falls on the weekend, you can celebrate it on the first day of March. So we are doing that today, talking about the good old Dr. Seuss.
And happy birthday tomorrow.
Yes, to him. So we're doing a fun game where we're Seussifying Studio 10, and we're going to see if we can guess which book we're in. I know,
fun.
you have to stay tuned. We have to kind of describe it. So it's basically a book will be behind us, and then you would have to describe what's happening behind me, and I'd have to guess what it is.
Oh, jeez. That's fun.
It's hard.
That's tricky, man. Glad you're doing it and not me.
But we're super excited for that. Plus, kind of in the reading realm, this world of imagination. Another classic that we had growing up, of course, is Shrek. Yes. And they've actually made Shrek into a musical, believe it or not.
What?
Yes. And I've actually been in it twice, so I could do the whole performance for you.
Well, we want to see it.
I'm not going to. I'm going to let Parker Middle School from Howell, Michigan, come in, and they're bringing in Donkey, Fiona, Shrek, and Lord Farquaad. Which, fun fact, because Lord Farquaad has to be super short. Obviously, remember in the movie, the actor has to play Lord Farquaad on their knees the whole time. It's really fun.
They have like knee pads
yes,
to scoot
they
around.
do.
Okay.
Yes, they do. But it's a good musical, and I love it because like all the fairy tale creatures sing this big song called "Let Your Freak Flag Fly."
Whoa.
Yes,
that's a tongue twister too, like yesterday.
Yes, that, and what makes us special makes us strong.
Oh,
you know, we're all unique in different ways. I know.
That's a great, powerful message.
I know. So definitely tune in to get to know them. They're so amazing. And of course, it is Friday, so we have another fish fry that we are jumping into, because all of these fish fries around the area are so unique and highlight different things and offer different things. And you know, the money goes towards different organizations or different churches. So Claudia is highlighting Krista Ray's.
Oh,
yes.
all right.
Yeah, so great show for everyone today. And of course, we have 517 Friday, where we can explore and experience rather than discover the greater, the 517 area.
And a great weekend to do that. Mm-hmm. So tune into Studio 10.
Yes, definitely. 3 o'clock.
All right.
Be there or see ya ogre there.
Oh, that was good. You're always good at your little transitions.
Well, we are also playing This Ogre That with the cast.
Oh, This Ogre That.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we will see you at 3 o'clock, Nicole. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
And at WI Like Studio 10, that is all you have to look up for more Studio 10, of course. If you want to see any of their 517 Friday stuff, get some ideas for the weekend. And Colton joining us in just a second with how fun the weekend is. So we'll get to that in just a second. But yes, make sure to go check that out. And we have that for you right there. And of course, if you ever want to participate in any of their fun questions. Oh, we're trying to find a microphone for Colton.
Oh,
there we go. It was hidden for him. But yes, so that is what you need to do at WI Like Studio 10. Also, if you are a business, you can email them at studio10@wilx.com if you want to participate in anything going on. And you can have some advertisements, sponsorships, just a lot of fun with Studio 10. So studio10@wilx.com if you want to email them. And also you could get a little shout out if you respond to any of their fun little questions, and you can also head to their Facebook page to do that as well. But of course, we have Colton Cichoracki standing next to me right now, and we're going to see what the weekend forecast is looking like, because first day of March, Colton.
It is, you know, and we've been seeing such an up and down weather pattern. You know, obviously last week or earlier this week, we saw those record warm temperatures, and then we cooled down again, and now we're kind of warming right back up, and it looks like we're going to get very warm yet again. But do you want to start off by playing our game?
Oh, yes. We have a game for you on this Friday. So let me lower this down a bit so people can see. Oh, the magic is happening. Okay, we're going to see. Wait, do I?
Let's go over this way.
Okay.
All right, so today is March 1st, which is the start of meteorological spring. And we know we say this all the time. You're like, what is meteorological spring?
Yes.
What is meteorological spring or winter? What does that mean? There's not two, there's only one. But basically, because of how records are kept, and because if you think about the start of spring, for instance, the start of spring could be on March 20th, it could be on March 21st, it could be on March 22nd, and because of that inconsistency, following the astronomical ways, the meteorologists break it down based on months. So the first and last days of the month are typically on the same day, except for February, obviously, especially this year. But so that's why they're broken down. So today, March 1st, is technically spring, according to meteorologists. So that means we have all of the data for winter, right? So winter ran from December 1st through the end of February. So I thought it'd be fun to play a little game here of above or below in terms of temperature, precipitation, and snowfall. Some of these are probably pretty easy if you think about it, but we're going to break them down each here, and then I'll show you the exact numbers coming up in just a second. So average temperature.
We know that was above.
Yes. So
we were warm, but then cold, and we were just doing one of these.
Oh yeah, and and how warm we were, especially in February with the temperatures in the 70s. But keep in mind, average temperature might be a bit confusing because that's the high and low taken together. So you basically just add the high temperature to the low temperature and divide by 2. That's your average temperature for the day. So that's kind of how this is calculated, and you can calculate it for the entire month. So average temperature, pretty easy. Do I just click it?
I think so, and drag it over. Ding, ding, ding.
There it is. So above average in terms of temperature. Now precipitation is a little bit more tricky. So precipitation, it includes both rain and snow. So it includes the rain that we saw, and then if you take the snow, melt it down, how much water you get, and so that's the precip. So what do you think? I'll ask Taylor, what do you think precipitation was? Was it above or below this winter?
I gotta say, the precipitation, now, I know.
We saw quite a few dry days in there.
I know, but I'm thinking overall, snowfall I know is below. Precipitation, that's the tricky one. I'm gonna go above.
Let's see. You are correct. Now, it actually wasn't by that much, and I'll show you the exact number in just a second. That's a little different because El Nino winters, which this past year has been, typically you would see above average temperatures and below normal precip. But this year, we actually saw just slightly above in terms of our precip. And then the last one, it's pretty obvious. If you think back to this past winter, we did not see a ton of snow. So I'm not even going to ask or play with this one. It was very clearly below in terms of what we saw this past winter season with the amount of snow that we saw, or I should say the lack of snow that we saw. So we wanted to play a little fun game there, right?
Oh, yes.
And break that down. But now let's actually show you the numbers, because that's what I've been doing all day today, is actually going through and looking at the numbers. And precipitation in Lansing, or I should say average temperature in Lansing, start off at the top. 33.3 was the average temperature so far, or throughout the entire winter. That was clearly close to 7 degrees above average. Precip there, 5.67 inches since December 1st. That was only about 0.89 above average, but it did end up being above average. But of course, if you're a snow lover like myself, it was a very disappointing year in terms of snowfall, only picking up 22.5 inches of snow in Lansing, and that is 16 inches below normal. And keep in mind, too, is that there is only one climate site in mid-Michigan that records snowfall on a daily basis. So Jackson, we actually don't have that information every single day, only if someone reports it to us. So Lansing's the only numbers that we can get in terms of snowfall. However, we can get Jackson's numbers for precip and my goodness, precip and temperature is what I'm trying to say. But here are the numbers. Lansing's 33.3 broke the old record of 33.1. That was set back way back in 1889 to 1890. So you have daily weather records that date back to the 1860s in Lansing, because the National Weather Service actually used to be here in Lansing.
That's wild.
So that we have records that go way back. Now Jackson broke the record from 1997 to 1998, 32.6 degrees. Jackson's numbers go back to about the 1940s or so. I know the climate site has moved in Jackson too, so we don't have data that goes as far back as that. So this is all in terms of what we have for the daily data. Some people may say, well, in the history of the Earth, we don't have that data necessarily. I know there are ways to do it, but we don't have the actual numbers like we do since the 1860s in Lansing. So warmest winter that we've seen ever. You got to go back a couple years ago. We actually saw a pretty warm winter as well. So it's been just that trend, and something that if you like the snow and you like the winter weather, this definitely was not your winter.
No hope for this year, although I don't want that, but
well,
we need the snow.
We do, and it just doesn't look like anything is coming either, because we can still pick up some snow in both March, April, sometimes May. We all know that, and I want to show you the outlook for March. Now, this is from the Climate Prediction Center, and sometimes this graphic can be a bit confusing for people at home, because you might think that the darker the red is, the more above average you're going to be. It actually is not the case. So this is showing the probability of seeing above average temperatures. So the darker the red means you have a better chance of seeing above average temperatures, but that doesn't say how far above. It could be a degree or two above, right?
Oh, yeah.
So keep that in mind. We are in a higher likelihood of seeing above average temperatures this month. In fact, most of the eastern half of the country is expected to see that. Average high today is 38. We end the month with our average high at 51. So that's a positive thing as we march our way into spring. Now, in terms of precip this month, the Climate Prediction Center forecasts that a lot of the Great Lakes region has a good chance of seeing below average precip, still kind of keeping with that El Nino type weather pattern. However, there are signs that El Nino is weakening, and we may see it go away within the next several months here. But either way you look at it, it looks like March is going to be a continuation of what we've seen over the past couple of months. And today has been a very warm day as well. This is outside right now this afternoon, and we're seeing some clouds now begin to drift in. That was expected. We started the day with plenty of sunshine, but we will likely see more of these clouds continue to filter their way in. But still very pleasant. Look at the temperatures, 40s across the area. Average high today's 38, so we really can't be complaining. It's pretty warm out there for this time of year. Now, satellite radar is showing the clouds that are moving in from the south. Now, this is a storm system that has some moisture with it, but not a ton. There's actually a lot of dry air that's in place across the region, so that will eat into some of the rain that you're seeing that moving into northern Indiana and into Ohio. However, I still do expect a few sprinkles from this, especially in southern parts of mid-Michigan, so keep that in mind throughout the rest of the day that we could see some rainfall from time to time. But overall, I really left it at a pretty low chance today. I do think that there will be better opportunities of seeing some rainfall, especially late Monday into Tuesday, but the weekend actually looks fantastic.
Well, show it to us. We're ready.
Yes, I think that's my next, nope, not my next graphic yet, but I'll show you.
That was a good tease.
After this one, yes. So the hour by hour, I wanted to start off with this afternoon. If you have any Friday night plans, we'll see some clouds around, maybe a few sprinkles from time to time, but nothing major is expected. This storm system will actually push out of here late tonight into tomorrow morning, so we'll likely wake up to some clouds tomorrow, but then by the afternoon we'll actually break out into some sunshine, and there's the afternoon. Temperatures in the 50s, some sunshine around, really nice weather for our Saturday. So the weekend, here it is, both days looking fantastic. 55 tomorrow, 64. I will say 55 tomorrow. That is dependent on how fast the clouds get out of here. If they get out soon, which is what I'm forecasting, we'll get up into the middle 50s. If they hold on for a bit longer, we may not get that warm. So that's something we'll keep an eye on for tomorrow. However, on Sunday, very warm, very windy too. 64 for the high temperature, but we'll see a mostly sunny sky on Sunday, looking like a really nice day. All you have to do is deal with the wind out there. Be careful grilling, things like that. You don't want to let that kind of go because of the wind. So
don't want any fires.
No, but the weekend just fantastic.
Yeah, get outside for a walk. Just soak up the vitamin D from the sun.
Yeah, and you know, if there was one complaint about Tuesday's warmth, was that it was on a Tuesday, right? It was right in the middle of the week for a lot of people.
And it was a February, like in February, felt weird.
Yeah, so this is actually the nice weather's correlating to the weekend, and hopefully that means that you can enjoy it a little bit more than what we saw earlier in the week. But we will be touching 70 degrees again coming up on Monday. Look at that. Record
Yay.
highs likely to fall. I don't think we'll set records on Sunday. They're a bit higher than what I'm forecasting, but Sunday, or I should say Monday, the record high in Lansing 64, and I'm forecasting 70. So we will definitely break a record high on Monday unless things drastically change. But we will see a cold front that comes in Monday night into Tuesday. That'll likely bring us some showers, maybe a few thunderstorms with that. We'll have to keep an eye on it once again. It's really tricky to forecast any type of severe weather this time of year because it's not as easy to get it, right? Because it's not the summertime, it's not super warm outside. But depending on when that cold front comes in on Monday, we'll have to keep an eye on that chance. Right now, the SPC, Storm Prediction Center, does not have us in any outlook, but we'll keep an eye on that for Monday night into Tuesday. And then after that, we do cool down a bit more, but still even next week, 40s and 50s, that's above normal still. So we're going to be continuing feeling like spring even over the next 10 days. So pretty incredible. You know, I keep looking every time I forecast, I look into the long range and hope to see something because I want more winter. I know not everyone does.
I wanted the winter in February. If we were going to get the winter, put it in February, you know?
Yeah.
Let the spring months be spring months.
That's fair. That's fair. And we'll see what ends up happening. You know, as we head into March, April, biggest question we always get is whether or not we're going to get early spring. It looks like we are right now, but that doesn't mean that winter's over, so we'll have to keep an eye on it. And I really don't like, and I know a lot of people can attest to this, when we get this warm so early, because things are going to start, you know, coming out of the ground, things are going to start blooming, and you always run the risk of seeing a late season freeze. We don't have that in the forecast at this point, but it's something we'll have to keep an eye on, especially you know, once we head into the middle of March and April, if we still continue to see things starting to bloom. Because I've seen pictures, and people have been saying this, and there have been bugs and things like that out and about already. So
worried about allergies, crops, the bugs. I know you were talking about that. Just so many things impacted because we didn't have the winter.
Yeah, I think this winter will easily go down as the winter that really wasn't, because I just wrote up an article, if you want to go to WILX.com, that breaks down what we saw with the winter. But it was really 1 week that we saw winter, right? It was that middle month of February or of January, I should say, with temperatures that were in the teens. Low temperatures dropped down to -4, but those were the coldest. That was the coldest time of the entire season. So it's pretty interesting too. It's actually on the homepage.
Oh, the homepage.
Yeah, I wrote a whole new article for this.
Where am I going?
Right there.
Right here, mid-Michigan. Oh, yes.
Just saw its warmest winter. A lot of this is what we just talked about, but I also do break down a little bit when it comes to when we saw the warmest, when we saw the coldest. Great Lakes ice cover, some of the lowest that we've ever seen. In fact, it was the lowest we ever saw in February. So all interesting stuff in there if you want to give that a read. It's right on our website at WILX.com. And breaking down. I also included a video in there of me kind of breaking it down as well. I've been busy today, my first day back.
Yes.
Been busy.
You're in Hawaii, and you had a great time.
I did, and you know, it was funny on Tuesday when you guys were seeing the warm weather. There was a time where it was sometime in the morning there that we were at the same temperature, and I was like, everyone's enjoying this nice warm weather.
That's nice.
But yeah, but it's nice to be back home too and get back to work and getting back on my routine.
I know we're all happy to see you. I'm sure you would much rather be in Hawaii. I would too, but hey, we're happy that you're here.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Good. Well, we will see you coming up on Studio 10 today.
Yeah, lots of fun coming up on Studio 10, so make sure you tune in.
All right. Well, thank you, Colton. We're going to get Aaron Bowling over here in just a second, but I am going to show you the First Alert weather app real quick.
Got to get the spring one out for you.
I know. We still have the snow showers on there. But yes, we will see if we get any more snow showers. So tune in to Studio 10 coming up at 3 o'clock today in just under 40 minutes. You can get more of your First Alert forecast updates from Colton Cichoracki. And then Andy Provenzano will be in for our 90 minutes of news. So I know the meteorologists have been all over the place. We're back to normal today. And again, download the First Alert weather app for free off of Google Play and the Apple App Store for your radar, your video updates from the meteorologists, even the traffic alert updates. And you can also do the Follow Me feature. But I did tell you that Aaron Bowling is standing here next to me. There we go.
Happy to be here.
Happy Friday.
Yeah, happy Friday. And it's so much nicer outside, just as Colton was saying today, than it was yesterday. So when I was out and about doing my story, I was in a much better spot
It looked
than I
cold.
was yesterday. Yes, today I was nice and good. I had my little jacket on, but you know, it was much better weather, so I was happy for that. Yeah.
All right. Well, what do we got coming up today?
So today I was talking with LPD, Lansing Police Department at Bancroft Park. apparently with this warmer weather that we're seeing, they've seen a big uptick in people driving off-road vehicles, so think ATVs, dirt bikes, on the roads or on park trails. And, you know, not only is it illegal to drive off-road vehicles anywhere in Lansing, they told us you're not allowed to drive those vehicles anywhere in Lansing. It's unsafe. You know, think about some of those park trails. They've got sharp corners, sharp turns. People are walking. They got pets with them, kids with them. And so, you know, not only, again, is it illegal, they're worried that somebody could potentially get injured. They said they've been already receiving quite a bit of complaints this year. They said this started last year. They got a lot of complaints last year. It was a problem last year. We actually covered it in the fall. Some neighbors were quite upset, and Lansing Police Department was quite frustrated. But this year, they said they're trying to get ahead of it. So what they're doing,
especially with the warmer weather and people getting out.
Oh my gosh, yes. So they are getting ahead of it. They are strategically placing cameras and patrol officers in the areas where they're getting complaints. So increasing surveillance, increasing patrol where people are driving those vehicles. So I met them where they had one of those solar-powered cameras set up for kind of a temporary setup. And then I spoke to some of the neighbors of that park who were frustrated with, you know, they said they're hearing a little vroom vroom late into the night, as late as even midnight.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So
and like driving out there when it's that dark out is dangerous for yourself as well.
Yeah. So
and others, yeah.
Yep. And they said, you know, Lansing Police Department said if they do catch you driving an off-road vehicle anywhere in Lansing, it could mean a citation, so a ticket, but it comes with a fine, might be paying some money for it, but then also they could impound your vehicle if you wanted. So you could lose your ATV or your dirt bike altogether for driving it in Lansing.
And again, it is illegal, so that is why you would be facing those consequences.
But if you guys have any questions, I'm going to be on tonight on News 10 at 6. I'm going to head back to my desk, start working. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll try to address them in my story.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Erin, for that update. Let's keep people safe. And coming up, News 10 at
6 o'clock.
Yeah,
tune in.
There you go. Thank you, Erin.
Thanks, Taylor.
Here's what we have coming up, starting with first at 4. We're talking about boating courses. And of course, we're continuing this warm weather talk, especially with the first day of March being today. So the Grand Ledge Area District Library is hosting a boating course, but they're not the ones putting it on. They're just hosting the location. And so we are talking about this boating course, getting ahead before people start taking their boats out, heading out into the water. Right now, it's too cold to head out into the water. But as you're preparing for that, as we get more of this warmer weather, the water starts to warm up more, we want to make sure that you're prepared. You have the boating course knowledge that you need to know, whether you're a passenger on board or you are the one driving the boat or any type of vehicle out on the water. So make sure to tune in to Mid-Michigan Matters during First at 4 today, and you can learn more about the boating course coming up. And then coming up, News 10 at 5, hundreds of black cemeteries across the country are at risk of being destroyed by construction, development, and neglect. Despite Congress passing a bill to help protect those states, the program still has zero funds to help those communities. So coming up, so that is what we have coming up on News 10 at 5. And then on News 10, we investigate with investigative reporter Carice Jackman, spoke with leaders on Capitol Hill to see what's happening as African Americans fight to preserve sacred ground. That is what we have coming up News 10 at 5. Then News 10 at 5:30, News 10's Tim Stout previews Michigan State hockey's matchup at Wisconsin with a Big Ten title on the line. Oh boy, so tune in to News 10 at 5:30. Tim Stout will have more. And then coming up on News 10 at 6, we are talking about Michigan State University has begun transferring Nassar documents to the Attorney General's office. So again, many of you may remember what happened with Nassar in connection to Michigan State University and even beyond. So we are talking more about that coming up News 10 at 6 today. Make sure that you tune in then. We also have our reporters out in the field. And we have Justin Kent actually. So we're going to see what he has coming up during our 90 minutes of news. Justin.
Lights, camera, action. The Lake Michigan Film Festival is being done right here in our very own backyard at the Meridian Film Festival. Lots of directors and producers putting their talents on display for everybody to come and watch. I'll have more on that story coming up for you guys in our 6 o'clock news.
All right, so more coming up, News 10 at 6. I know it says 5 p.m., but News 10 at 6, Justin's coming up. And maybe you can tune in to News 10 at 5 to learn some more too. So there you go. I do want to give a live look outside downtown Jackson. We had more blue skies earlier to start off the day, but you heard Colton saying that more of those clouds are moving in throughout the day as well, and possible chances for rain showers. Not so much with the snow anymore because we're warmer, but talking about the rain showers. So it might be a little spotty here and there, but Jackson is getting more of the clouds right now. And then let me try to show you a live look over Michigan State University. You can get a live look over there as well. Woo, those are interesting looking clouds. So Colton will be breaking this all down coming up on Studio 10 in just over half an hour, as well as First Step 4 again. And then followed by our 90 minutes of news. Andy Provenzano will have a lot more coming up. So one more live look for now. I'll give you that look over Mason. Just taking that live look. And more of those clouds also. But you are seeing some of the blue skies as well, so go out and enjoy it while you can. Otherwise, Colton was talking about the warmer temperatures we're going to be seeing heading into the weekend, so I'll show you that one more time. Make sure to check that out. If you've been experiencing the cabin fever, if you need to get outside, experience the warmth, get the vitamin D, make sure you're taking advantage of this weekend. And just remember that Sunday, even though we are warming up to 64, that is the goal for Sunday. It's also going to be windy and breezy. That's what Colton was explaining. So it might not really feel like 64, but hey, we'll get up there. We'll have that wind and breeze. But otherwise, make sure to enjoy this weekend, because heading into next week, and more so into next weekend, you see those temperatures getting a little bit cooler. Now, I will say again, the average high is 38 degrees. So that is what Colton forecasted. So I was looking at the numbers. So going into next week, we will get more towards those average temperatures for March. Again, recently we're seeing above average temperatures, and by quite a lot. So First Alert Meteorologist Colton Cichoracki will have more coming up during Studio 10. That is what you need to know coming up on News 10 today. And one more thing to show is our You're Not Alone mental health series all year long here on News 10, talking with community members about their personal, emotional, and mental health journey, and talking about going through anxiety, depression, even suicidal thoughts. So no matter what you're going through, we also speak with mental health care professionals on the symptoms and signs to look out for, whether that's you or someone else going through something, and being aware, having that recognition of when someone else is going through something and might need that extra level of support. So know that you're not alone. There are resources out there for you. All you have to do is scan that QR code on your screen. It'll pop up a link on your phone. Click on the link and it'll pull up a list of resources from around mid-Michigan communities. So go check that out. Know that you're not alone, whether it's, again, the cabin fever, that roller coaster of temperatures. We've been going back and forth like a little tug of war. Maybe you're going through something personal. Know that you're not alone, and there are resources out there for you. One more time, I will give a live look outside. Want to end this on a little bit more of a happy note. So again, 10-day temperature trend, you're taking a look right there. And then also, let me give you a live look over US 127. If you are hitting the roads this weekend, you can see what that is looking like outside. Traffic seems to be moving just fine on this Friday afternoon. But of course, you are having more of those clouds move in. So you may need to use the windshield wipers if you are getting any of those rain showers. Otherwise, Colton says it should be little sprinkles and something quick. So that is what you need to know coming up on News 10 today. Studio 10 gets started here in less than half an hour, and we hope you guys have a great first day of March. Here's to new beginnings, and have a great weekend.